I don't believe in ghosts.
What was that shot?
First of all, there's our culprit, the cat.
There's our villain.
I'm not sure if they're coming from Earth source, Earth energy.
What? What does that mean? You know, the earth spirits that live in the sewers that we all know about.
This land used to be a native settlement.
Oh my god, guys, they built their house on a Native American burial ground.
Definitely raccoons.
We can see evidence of feces.
I don't think that's what I heard.
If it was me, I'd be more concerned about the raccoons and the feces in the loft.
Explain why you've had odd issues related to the plumbing.
Because he was a plumber, the way he haunts the house he built is by messing with the plumbing.
Guys, last year my mum and I went to Disney Paris and it was so good that we're going back again next year. But this time, I'll tell you what, this time I'm going to be using Simify, the sponsor of today's video. One of the key shared traits between me and my mum is our lack of navigation ability. Like, mine's real bad, my mum's is even worse, which means I'm in charge of navigating when we go away. Other than the basic, polite, conversational phrases, neither of us speak French. So when we travel, I need access to my Google Maps, I need my Disney Park app, most importantly, I need my translator app. There's nothing more stressful than trying to search for Wi-Fi in a language you don't understand. That's why having everything set up beforehand is going to be so helpful for me this time. Essentially what you're doing is getting a prepaid eSIM. An eSIM, if you're not familiar, really simple, it's just a digital SIM card. It means you don't have to actually physically change out any SIM cards. You know, you have to put the tiny thing, you poke it in your phone to pop out the thing, and so you don't have to do any of that. It's just, it's digital, it's in your phone. The less work you have to do while you're on holiday, the more time you can actually enjoy your holiday. The more time you can spend waving at Mickey Mouse. I waved at Mickey Mouse a lot last year. Choose your plan, select how long you want it for. You can get your eSIMs for less than $2 a day. They do all these unlimited data deals. You just get your plan, activate your eSIM before you fly, tweak your settings after you land. Boom, you're online within minutes and now you can enjoy your holidays. And Google Translate what the hell all these signs mean. What the hell is a boulangerie? It's a baguette shop. I knew that one actually. You go into your internet settings, you want to add a new SIM, set up an eSIM. You can either just scan the QR code or paste the code that they've given you. Press setup, have a sip of coffee. You want to change your mobile data to your new SIM. Victory! Simify can't make my mum and I smarter, but hopefully it will help us stop getting lost so much. Remember to click the link down below, go to simify.com/discount/Emma to get 15% off your order. Thank you for checking it out and to Simify for sponsoring this video.
Hello lovely people, my name is Emma, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. It's a brisk January day. What better way to spend it than cozying up inside with an episode of Paranormal Home Inspectors? I am so excited about this. I've never seen an episode. Conceptually, what a genius idea. Which freaking maverick came up with the idea? We need to put a new twist. We need to reframe the ghost hunting show format. Home inspection. Families who are spooked by an otherworldly presence call in specialists to investigate the haunting. With some high-tech help, the truth is sought. I would love to be the skeptic on a good ghost hunting show. Soak up the spooky vibes, everyone hyping each other up, get some genuine history, hopefully help someone who's either a little bit scared or is trying to bring more business to their B&B, and then every now and then do a quiet bit to camera where I explain all of the logical reasons for the hauntings. I'd be so good at it, I think. So anyone in the comments happens to be producing a ghost show, contact my agent, we'll get in touch. Without further ado, take it away, Paranormal Home Inspectors.
There's something very dark in here.
There is now, you slap that negative filter on the shot. There's something very dark in here, and the first shot is of a drain.
But I've never seen anything like this. There's things down there that are just kind of scary.
It's not just the plumbing and the electrical that you need to be worried about, but it is mostly the plumbing and the electrical. We could do a paranormal, like a ghost hunting show bingo card. I've never seen anything like that, would definitely be on there. That'd be like center tile.
The activities.
The pianos.
They just push me right out.
Ashley, did you leave the house yet? Ashley? Ashley?
That was definitely from a sound effects library and not the show, but I love it. Wait, let me quickly try and find out what year this is. 2011? I guess, actually, My sense of time is so fucked up. I can't get my head around the idea that 2011 was so long ago. That's like 15 years of television and VFX and audio effects enhancements. Like, that this is fine. This does look 2011. It looks low budget 2011. I just have to get into my head what 2011 actually is. Oh, it starts with a little case file. This is beautiful. Okay, so we're actually in Canada right now. Case file 392. Is this not the first I thought this was the first episode. I think they might just be making up case numbers. I don't think there have been 392 episodes. Toronto, Canada. Home built in 1913. Activity reported. Numerous unexplained phenomena. They haven't had a plum around to explain any of it yet, so... I'd love if she just had a clipboard of, like, here's everything that happened, and you go in and tick it off. Basically, I'm describing, like, my ideal version of, like, a paranormal detective game, but you genuinely have to fix, like, the plumbing and the electrics. How good would that be? That's such a popular, like, friend slop genre right now. If there's a developer in the comments, can you make that game for me? I'd love that. Like, it's still a spooky, scary, paranormal game where the ghosts can kill you, but you have to fix the electrics and the plumbing. Please?
Our Paranormal Home Inspectors received a call from a woman named Catherine.
Maybe this show is Canadian. I think I still have an IMDb Pro account. That's me. I do. I have premium membership. Haha, I knew it. Don't look at my star meter. Most known for Project Power. That was a good movie. Okay, that was a great movie. I loved working on that. No complaints from me. It is Canadian. This is a Canadian TV series. Discovery Channel Canada. This is a Man, the Discovery Channel is crazy. Okay. This is a Canadian show, and I apologize for saying American. Usually when I say American, I mean that whole continent, but especially right now, I'm sure there are probably a lot of Canadians and other people from the continent that don't want to be referred to as American, because it makes most people think of the US, and we just don't want to think about the US right now. Even my lovely people in the US probably don't want to think about the US right now, so let's remember that this is a Canadian show.
Who bought a house 3 years ago. She claims that strange things started to happen.
Now it sounds like somebody doing a British accent. What's going on? Sorry, Catherine.
She moved in and began renovating.
When I moved in, the house was in great shape, but
what a shot.
I wanted to make it my own, so I did.
Love the framing. Spooky candles. Who's that picture of? Your eyes naturally drawn to this black and white photo.
This is my basement. This was completely renovated after I moved in. Everything's been completely redone.
She's done a great job renovating this basement. Like, it was like a proper crummy sort of garage looking thing, and she's made it... Why is there a skeleton hanging on the wall? No, I love it. I vibe Catherine's sense of decor, okay? I really appreciate it, but I'm starting to get a sense of why Catherine might think her house is haunted. Continue, please.
I'm very
so
comfortable
cozy
here. This is my dream home, so I'd like to stay. I don't believe in ghosts, but all...
What was that shot?
I don't believe in ghosts.
It's so weird.
A lot of the things that have happened here I can't explain.
Wanting to get to the bottom of the unexplained phenomena plaguing her house,
Unexplained
Catherine has called on our
phenomena.
unique team to conduct a multi-platform home inspection.
She is making a list. I've managed to predict this show. Maybe I could produce as well. No, I don't need that extra work, actually. Just have me on as the skeptic. Thank you.
Combining traditional and non-traditional investigative techniques. Our team, made up of intuitive healer Nadine,
Intuitive healer Nadine. Intuitive healer. Not doctor.
certified home inspector Brian,
Brian.
and paranormal investigator and researcher Michelle.
And Michelle.
The team will
Okay, so Brian, certified home inspector. Michelle, paranormal investigator and researcher. That's sort of those people that kind of like the paranormal society. What's it called? It's like the paranormal something society. Those kind of people that straddle the scientific, kind of try and use the scientific to investigate the paranormal. And then a fully like psychic powers lady who is called Nadine, intuitive healer, psychic type Nadine. Perfect. I love this team. Instinctively, Brian is my favorite. Don't know if it's just because of the way he took his sunglasses off or if it's because he's the actual home inspector. I love them.
first to go in as our fact finder Michelle to begin the dialogue that will form the roadmap for our investigation.
The little cuts to black and white and sometimes negative are so fun. Somebody had a great day with the built-in effects in their editing software.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks so much for meeting with me. I just have a few quick questions about what is going on in the home.
I can hear it now. A few quick questions about
Room by room, and tell me what's happened in each.
Recently,
they are getting some good money out of that tree out the front. Oh my god, there's a bit of snow on the tree. We've got to get some footage of that. That's going to be some sweet B-roll throughout.
I woke up in the early morning and I could hear water running. I went into the bathroom and my taps in the bathtub were on. Full blast. One of the strangest things, like that first started happening, was the door at the top of the stairs. I would go past the closet door, I'd come downstairs, and then I'd go back upstairs and the closet door would be open.
Not turning off the taps properly, not closing the door properly. Actually, spookily, both kind of problems we had when we moved in here. I even called it, I think, slightly haunted because this door didn't shut properly. And also the taps here are the ones where you have to really wrench them all the way around in order to stop them dripping. Otherwise, like an hour later, they start pouring water again. Oh my god, what if my house is haunted? What if it's not rational explanations for Christine's house? What if there's a ghost in mine?
And I could hear growling. And my dog sleeps at the foot of my bed, so I thought, oh, it's the dog starting to growl again. And then seconds later, I realized that actually I didn't have the dog in the house that night.
Where was your dog? I didn't have the dog in the house that night. Where was it?
I was in the office working, and my dog was at the top of the stairs, growling down the stairs. And then just as he was doing that, I was overcome with a smell.
Has the house ever been treated for mold or mildew problems?
Not since I've owned the house. I did have to replace the roof. My friend Fatima has mentioned that she's not comfortable in the basement.
From day one that she's moved in, if I went downstairs, I always shut that laundry room door. There's something in that laundry room that makes me feel really uncomfortable.
It's the drain. Oh my god, that's the big thing of this episode, is the drain in the laundry room. I love that. That's the centerpiece of the action in this haunted home.
I had a beautiful fishbowl and it had exploded everywhere. How the hell did this happen?
Did the cat topple it over?
No, because look.
The stand's still there.
Besides the roof, any renovations in the house since moving?
Was there a fish in it? She had a beautiful fishbowl. Was it an empty fishbowl? The dog sleeps at the foot of her bed, but sometimes it's outside. There's a beautiful fishbowl that a cat might have knocked over, but it can't have because the stand's there. What's going on with the animals in this house? I have a feeling that animals might be responsible for quite a lot of the paranormal experiences, especially if she's got a cat. I'm wearing this for a reason, okay?
As far as we've ever been told, there's no key for this deadbolt. And we'd leave every day for lunch and leave the door unlocked, right? And we'd lock the gate here. Twice, when we came back, the deadbolt was locked.
Have the children experienced anything in the house?
One of my sons has told me a few times that he's heard voices.
Maybe to be on the safe side, we'd have a chat with the pediatrician. Just like, hey, by the way, my son's mentioned hearing voices a few times. Can you just chat to him and make sure that's like normal kid stuff and not unhealthy kid stuff? I'm just saying.
I just don't want people to think I'm crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
No, you're not crazy. You just clearly love spooky stuff. And your doors are a bit fucked up. And for some reason, you're not willing to blame your pets for anything that is clearly pet-related. That doesn't make you crazy. I really like that the investigator, I do kind of like, if I wasn't way too skeptical to ever entertain any thoughts of the paranormal, that would be my vibe, right? The paranormal investigator types that they seem to legitimately want to get to the root of things. Because you have your psychic types, right, that say everything is like deja vu. There's no such thing. It's always a vision. Every time they ever feel deja vu, it's a mystical feeling, you know? Everything that's happened in this house is clearly a ghost, you know? It can't have been the cat or whatever. Whereas, you know, this type of person, she's going in, there's an unexplained smell. She's like, have you ever had any mold or mildew or anything tested for in your house? I like that. I approve of that. That would be me. Because I love spooky stuff. I just can't make myself believe in things for which I know there is zero evidence. So I would have to be the resident skeptic when you make your haunted show. This is a spooky ghost thing, right? I have this tracking feature on my camera. Quite often, it loses track of my face and focuses on something else as if it's a face. It quite often focuses on my microphone and thinks that that's a face, more of a face than my actual face. So it's probably a ghost in my microphone.
Catherine never had a formal house inspection done when she bought her home, it's clearly time for certified home inspector Brian Daly to shine his flashlight on the matter.
Brian! Get in there, Brian! I want to see what's going on in this drain. This never-before-seen, horrifying gunk in the drain. Can you even buy a house without having a proper home inspection? Maybe it's like, you know, she had the bare minimum. Like they do the damp test and check that the walls aren't falling down, and maybe that was it. It was 2011. Things were different.
I'd be happy to find out if there's something going on mechanically with the house.
You know what that yellow device is called, guys? A spirit level. I think I just worked out the inspiration for the show.
Brian is given a detailed list of hotspots documented by Michelle from our homeowner.
So the first thing on our checklist is something about a fishbowl, and that was in the kitchen.
What's Brian gonna... I guess we'll find out, but what's Brian gonna be able to check? That happened in the past.
There's our fishbowl. Now, that looks like a newer bowl, obviously.
There is a fish in there.
My notes from Michelle. It kind of looked like a brandy glass. Now, that glass is really thin.
A hairline crack, lots of water pressure, vibration from the street noise. It's a no-brainer.
So that one is definitely off the list.
I love Brian. I love Brian. I love this show. This is living up to exactly what I wanted so far. First thing, the spooky thing. No, it couldn't have been the blah, blah, blah. Yep, that's easy. Very obvious explanation. That type of glass, yeah, water pressure would have just made it explode if there was any type of small crack. I love it. I love it. I love him. Continue the inspection, Brian.
I was told by Michelle that this deadbolt was giving problems and it kept locking on its own.
You slam the door a certain way, that lock will slam shut. It's just a spring-loaded mechanism. That can happen. Absolutely.
I love it. It's nothing. Yep, that's nothing. We wasted time looking at it earlier. That's nothing. Very rarely have I seen... In fact, maybe never have I ever seen a ghost show set up these spooky things that the people are worried about and then just say, yep, this has a very clear practical explanation. Write that off. That's so, like, honest. We haven't seen the intuitive healer get in and do her thing yet, so maybe it will all go downhill, but so far I'm loving this. Oh my god, the drain!
I've seen a lot of things down drains, but I've never seen anything like this.
It's not what I expected to see at all. There's things down there that are just kind of scary.
Is there something buried down there?
No.
Was there something buried down there?
Yes.
Was that the intuitive healer saying yes? Because I don't know if I trust that. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Paranormal investigator Michelle takes Catherine's list of concerns to the archives, where she begins her research.
Ooh, the archives.
I can't believe what I just found. This is exactly what I've been looking for.
That sound effect. The sound effects and the music in this show are so good. They're so tropey. They're like leaning hardcore into every paranormal show trope. I love it. Tell me what's going on with this drain, Brian. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Inspector Brian Daly has already found something unsettling in the laundry room drains.
I've seen a lot of things down drains, but I've never seen anything like this.
He continues his inspection.
Oh, I want to know.
It's not what I expected to see at all. There's things down there that are just kind of scary. We need to get a contractor in to have a look at that.
Okay, we're gonna go upstairs and have a look at closet door.
The closet door.
Right off the top, I can see that our floor is sagged a little bit.
Door at the top of the stairs is an easy one. It's not level to begin with because the floor is shifted, so it naturally wants to open.
These old latches also never latch properly. One of the things we do know is that we've got newer windows in the house. With newer windows, it creates a tight building envelope. Every time you open a front door, doors swing open. Plus, the home...
I'm learning so much. This is amazing as a show to prep you for watching other haunted shows. Now, when I hear some, because there's always a door that opens by itself. There's always a door. Now I know how new windows affects the doors in the house and to look for whether the floor is level and the door is level. This is amazing. And now there's a cat. I'm so happy.
Homeowner has a cat. A cat is always pawing at something, always trying to get inside closets, so he probably swung it open just like that. So this is something that I'm going to be checking off my list. Okay, my notes tell me that
Brian.
in this room, there's a strong smell of mustiness. I got a really good sense of smell, and I don't smell anything in this room, but there is evidence that we've obviously had a roof leak at one point in time that's been repaired.
There's nothing going on there. I think the homeowner's just smelling things.
Okay, in the bathroom. bathroom here.
I love Brian so much!
The taps were mysteriously on in the middle of the night.
Sleepwalking. There's got to be no other explanation.
And look at this, they seat just perfectly.
I'm sure that the homeowner probably inadvertently turned them on and went to bed and didn't know that she left them on.
I'm Brian. I'd like to be Brian in one of these shows. Unfortunately, I don't have Brian's level of expertise on homes. But I love his vibe. And now he's about to bump into the cat. If he pets the cat, Brian gets a 10 out of 10 best character. Best character. Best guy. Best person on the show.
Bedroom, first of all, there's our culprit, the cat.
There's our villain.
Has heard noises in the attic. Now, where we are in the city, it's an area that's notorious for animals getting onto the roof and getting into the attic space. There's probably raccoons trying to get together and make baby raccoons.
Aww.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely raccoons. I stuck my head up in the attic and I saw the evidence.
We can see evidence of feces.
Oh, no.
And where the insulation's been disturbed.
There's nothing unexplainable or strange in this house. It's called character. It has lots of creaks and bumps and grinds. There's nothing wrong with this house at all.
I love Brian. Brian best character. I'm just gonna keep calling them characters. There's nothing wrong with this house. There's we need to get a contractor in to see what's under the drain. Spooky stuff that you can't explain, like the taps that happened one time, is probably just user error. You know, there's nothing wrong with this house. I didn't experience anything. I didn't even smell anything. They need to get pest control in to deal with the raccoon situation. I don't know how you prevent raccoons in an attic, but yeah. Having slept in an attic room many, many times, you do hear stuff. Birds landing on the roof, anything. It just amplifies. Even rain can be kind of spookier in a nice way, but you just, it amplifies sound in that way. Awesome, so show's over, right? Brian has explained everything for us.
The rest of the team may not be convinced. Renowned intuitive healer Nadine Mercy is looking for something Brian can't see.
She looks exactly like what I imagine an intuitive healer to look like. Her hair, the makeup. Okay, it's very 2011, but yeah. Just her first shot being of her doing this. Weighing the ghost scales, you know.
She'll take the spiritual pulse of the house.
Which means nothing.
Nadine has barely walked through the door when she senses a presence.
Is it the cat?
I have this really heavy presence in my chest. It's almost like I want to breathe, and I'm almost shaky. I'm actually picking up an animal spirit. 2 elderly men, a lady. There's quite a few here, and I'm not sure why.
My God, the house was only 90 years old at the time. There's 2 elderly men, there's animals, bloody hell.
But they do have messages to give, and they want to know why. Why are you here? And we don't want you here. I'm just going to ask everybody to calm down because it's a little bit overwhelming right now. They're basically saying, I won't take no for an answer. I won't let you do this to us. Heavy presence in this room. They do congregate here often as the children are very open and neutral. You see, I don't know if you can see the goosebumps. Oh, my arms are just like a shot right through my whole body, and there's a lot of presence in this room right now. They're saying, sing. Talk to me, baby, soft and low.
You know, she's weird. She's predisposed to just make up and then believe the stuff that she makes up. But I like her vibe. I have always pretty much said that I think 99% of psychics are charlatans, or all psychics are charlatans, just some of them have successfully convinced themselves as well. And I feel like so far this lady has convinced herself. She's in that category. But just something about her vibe I kind of like. I feel like I would get on with her as a person, even though we would probably argue on a few things.
It's very quiet down here. They're not speaking to me. They're just watching, observing.
Nadine feels peaceful, positive energy in the new basement. But without warning, the mood shifts.
A little bit of heaviness here, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if they're coming from Earth source, Earth energy.
What? What does that mean? Earth source, gesturing at the drain. You know, the Earth spirits that live in the sewers that we all know about. I thought it was like, you know, you said upstairs, it's like ghosts of, you know, the 2 elderly men and animals and stuff. What's Earth sauce? I love an Earth sauce on me burgers. Earth sauce on me hot dog, please.
Everything really heavy here. I'm trying to pick out which corner it's coming from. I'm starting to shake a bit.
Yeah, because you're making yourself nervous and you're doing weird breathing. She's probably doing it slightly subconsciously. Like, she gets into these situations and she's sort of like, oh, I think I feel something in here. And then, like, this is something you learn to do as an actor, right? Is you learn what it feels like to feel cold, tired, scared. And you can bring that up when you need it. But it probably is the earth demons under this drain. Whatever's happening in this room. I think that probably is legitimately what it is.
Why are you here? I keep asking you, why are you here? You're asking me to leave. I want you out of the house. There's something very dark in here. I don't want to be in this room. It's not feeling good. I gotta leave. I don't like that room. That's okay. They just pushed me right out.
Well, they didn't push her out. She was like, I don't like it in here. I'm going. She wasn't pushed out. I feel like that's a bit of an exaggeration. I love the contrast, the choice to have Brian be like, yep, there is nothing unexplainable in this house. It's just the character of the house. They have pets. There's nothing weird going on here. Cutting straight to the intuitive healer who walks in the door and is like, there's so many spirits. There's so many presences here. I do like her, though. Is that a flaw of mine? I think it's okay to like her.
And hoping to further understand the messages she received, Nadine is returning to the house with our research assistant.
And she's curled her hair. So now she's ready. She's got an assistant.
Ashley, to drive our investigation forward.
God, she's dressed so 2011. I say that knowing I have clothes like that.
Name, I don't know why. I'm hearing the name George, something to do with George. I feel this fellow is still here and he's pulling me away from this room in particular, and he guides and protects this room.
Is he protecting a certain person?
Yes.
Who's that person?
Wife.
Does she have a name?
I'm getting a Joyce or a J.
Do you know when they were here?
They've been here a long time.
Okay.
The thing that always interests me about these psychics, right, that can walk, you know, the Derek Akora type, who, again, as we discussed on another video on this channel, was completely busted, was outed as a fraud. Like, we knew he was a fraud, but somebody the skeptic, managed to set him up in such a way that it was proven to the audience that he is a fraud. They have this mix, right? And it's different on a live show versus a pre-recorded show, because in this format, they can have done any amount of research in the middle. She has probably learned some of the history of this house in between previous occupants so that later those names can match up. That's probably what happens, right? That's how Derek Akora got outed. So we have to take it for granted that we don't know what goes on in between these days, these filming moments. They could start filming the show and they already have all of the names and stuff. They probably do, right? The research portion is probably done in advance so they can find out if there's any interesting history before they decide to film there. What always amazes me is how they have these specifics, these incredible like, I can get a name, I know they've lived here a long time, I can hear what they're saying to me, but sometimes I get the name a bit wrong, or all I'm getting is a letter. They sort of imagine that psychic powers and the psychic realm and the spiritual realm works like a kind of fog where you just pull bits of information, and some of it they throw at you so you really know it, and some of it you grasp at and, oh, you're a bit wrong because there's too many voices, or it's just an interesting concept that they've managed to craft a world, this sort of illusory world, in which they can never be wrong, because if you're sometimes really specific and correct, that's because it's real, but if you're sometimes a bit wrong, it's because of the nature of the world. It's because it's really hard to get real information, because you're finding information through a veil, and there's so many voices. It's just interesting that it doesn't always work in this one way, that it changes how it works, the psychic world changes how it works so that they're never wrong. And I just think that's interesting to bear in mind when you're watching psychic stuff.
Nadine returns to the site of the most psychic activity.
Absolutely, definitely down.
The most psychic activity, just as a reminder, is Nadine freaking herself out and going, look, I've got goosebumps.
Is there something buried down there?
No.
Was there something buried down there?
Yes.
I want to know how she knows. Obviously she doesn't know. In her mind, I want to know how she knows. No, there's nothing buried down there. Yes, there was something buried down there. Where's that information come from? How did you come across it? I want them to be forced to explain so that it becomes clear that they're just making it up.
Our client, Catherine, called in our paranormal home inspection team, hoping we could provide explanations for the odd occurrences plaguing her home.
Plaguing seems a bit extreme. It's like 5 things have happened in the whole time she's lived there. And most of them have been like a door opening and stuff that is explainable really easily.
Michelle heads back to the city archives looking for answers, and soon uncovers some startling historical information about
History
Catherine's
time,
house
baby. This is the best part of these shows.
As the sun sets on the 4th day of our investigation, it seems likely that there's a supernatural presence in Catherine's home.
Does it seem likely? All we have is Nadine's word. And based on everything I've seen Nadine say and do, I don't know if she's the most reliable narrator.
To set up her paranormal investigative gear and spend the night...
Investigative gear. What an interesting way of saying that word.
Passive infrared sensors. See?
Absolutely classic. Used this when I did my paranormal investigation. I always want to call it a ghost hunt. They were very specific about not calling it a ghost hunt.
These are the vibration sensors hanging on the door there.
All right.
Jiggle the door. And now what we'll do is set up the tripods and the video cameras.
If you want explanations for how some of these things can be triggered by normal real-life events, you should watch my haunted house exploration video, because we went over it in that. Day 5, night.
Basically, the whole point of this is to try to get the spirits to manifest somehow for us, because that's the reason why we're here.
So they've gone in at night to see if they can get these spirits to manifest. And these things always happen at night. My ghost thing happened at night. They always happen through the night because I guess spirits are more active at night? ? That's a question for the psychics out there. Because in real life, nighttime is scarier. The dark is scarier, it's more quiet, so you hear more things like the sound of the wind and the sound of the house, and it's easier to hype each other up and get each other scared. Because in reality, the spooky happenings in her house have mostly been in the day. Most of the stuff she's experienced, everything Nadine felt when she came in, all happened in the daytime. It makes no practical sense as, like, from an investigative standpoint to do this at night. It's just because nighttime is spookier and that makes it feel more like a haunted house show. That's really interesting to me.
After a series of unanswered questions, Michelle and Ashley finally get a response.
I keep hearing things. What are you hearing? Do you hear that? I do. What was that? One of the sensors. Oh, God. Let's go upstairs. It sounded like it was going down, running through the hallway.
They were both sat next to each other and only one of them heard this sound. And then when the other one thought she heard something, the other one was like, yeah, I think so. Because they're just hearing the sounds of a house at night. Or local sounds. The sound of a neighbour. Creaky floorboard. Like the house settling. A bird. Wind. Anything. But they're sat there specifically listening out, primed to believe that whatever they hear is supernatural. And I experienced this firsthand again when I did this ghost experience. It's the same thing. It's a bunch of people convincing themselves and waiting for confirmation. It's a huge confirmation bias event. You sat there in the dark, it's spooky, you're listening out for things. The first thing you think you hear, even if it's quiet, even if it's just basically nothing, perfectly explainable, you're like, oh, there it is. The ghost I've been waiting for. Fascinating psychologically.
There was nothing there. That just went off on its own. Okay, I'm gonna take
that happens a lot, by the way. Those sensors are super sensitive. They will go off if dust blows into... I mean, it depends what you're using. And obviously, whatever they're using... And actually, I don't know if ghost hunting equipment has really evolved since 2011, so maybe that's not true. But these things are really sensitive. Dust. I don't know if the cat's in the house at the moment or the dog or anything, but yeah, there's plenty of things it could be.
Just gonna go crawl in a hole. Let's go in the bedroom. Go back up these stairs. That was main floor.
I think part of the reason that that's a popular, like, ghost hunting device is because it goes off all the time. Because when you're doing a paranormal investigation, it's so much nothing. There's so much nothing that happens that having something reliable, as in reliably activate a lot, reassures you that there is activity. Because they never go to a house and are like, I do believe in spirits, I believe I have psychic powers and connect to the other side, but I don't think there are any here. They never say that. There's always something. Every house in the world has at least one ghost in it, according to people who believe in the psychic realm. Which is crazy, because if ghosts were real, imagine what London would be like if ghosts were real. Frickin' every inch would be bustling with ghosts. Where are the caveman ghosts? You know? It's crazy. Obviously, it can't be real, as soon as you think about it logically for a second. But I do find the sort of psychology, why people lean towards certain techniques, why people are looking for the reassurance that, oh yeah, there is something there, and the comforting way I view the world. Because if we're being honest, this is about life after death. This is about the idea of a spirit or a soul. It must be very comforting to people who believe this to say there is evidence that after death, whatever makes us us continues on. So no wonder they're constantly seeking reassurance and finding ways to make this be true, be their reality. That was maybe a bit deep for paranormal home investigators, I apologise.
The paranormal activity is clearly heating up in the house, taking an unexpected toll on Ashley.
I'm getting a really bad headache.
Are you? You okay?
Yeah, I think I need some fresh air or something.
Ashley, did you leave the house yet? Ashley? Ashley?
Here's the info that our multi-platform inspection has come up with.
I love that they call it a multi-platform inspection. Like, listen, we've inspected on several fronts. And yes, the practical one said there was nothing spooky or weird about your house. But the psychic lady thinks that your house is mega haunted, so...
Brian feels that the musty smell that you have been experiencing...
We've obviously had a roof leak at one point in time that's been repaired.
I hope he's right.
The door at the top of the stairs is a no-brainer.
It's definitely not hung square.
I can understand that.
Now, the growling that you heard in the bedroom.
Definitely raccoons.
We can see evidence of feces.
I don't think that's what I heard.
I don't think so. I just don't agree. If it was me, I'd be more concerned about the raccoons and the feces in the loft. I'd be like, oh no, what do I do about that? Has he got a number of someone I can call?
With these types of bolts, if you slam the door hard enough, it could lock on its own.
Well, I think my contractor would be happy to hear that.
Taps in the bathroom were mysteriously on. Now, these are reproduction taps.
Sleepwalking. There's got to be no other explanation.
As far as I know, I don't sleepwalk.
And the fishbowl exploding.
Hairline crack, lots of water pressure.
There's no doubt that it could blow any time.
I thought of that too.
Basement drain, well, that's a big problem. There's things down there that are just kind of scary. We need to get a contractor in to have a look at that.
So now let's talk about my overnight inspection. The passive infrared sensors went off 3 times.
Oh, God.
Up these stairs. Wow.
My assistant, Ashley, developed such a headache that she had to leave the building. She never came back, and she has subsequently quit the team.
Oh my god, Ashley quit. It was so haunted in this one house where basically nothing happens that she quit.
I'm actually picking up an animal spirit, 2 elderly men, a lady.
4.
This land used to be a native settlement.
Oh my god, guys, they built the house on a Native American burial ground. I feel like that's probably most houses in Canada and the US, right?
The house was built by a plumber in 1913.
Why did it highlight that it was built by a plumber? Oh my god, a plumber? They deal with drains. William Jelly? What an amazing name! I thought we were looking for a George. There'll probably be a George. Everyone and their mum's called George, aren't they? My middle name's Georgina. They're everywhere.
Explain why you've had odd issues related to the plumbing.
Oh, because he was a plumber. The way he haunts the house he built is by messing with the plumbing. What the fart? But other ghosts in other haunted places mess with the plumbing. Why would it have to be because he's a plumber?
Now here's the most interesting bit of history.
I'm hearing the name George, something to do with George.
Oh, here's George.
A lady. I'm getting a Joyce or a J.
A couple by the name of George and Joan lived here for 35 years.
It's like dead on.
Well, it's not dead on, is it? Because she said Joyce. I still suspect she already knew their names before filming that segment, before getting that sense of George and something with a J. And the fact that she was certain on George, but Not sure. Joyce, maybe something with a J. I think that was to throw in a little bit of doubt to make it sound more real. But saying it's dead on, it's just not true.
Those are two of the spirits that are dwelling here.
Sounds like more than a coincidence for sure.
Why? That's a point. Why does it sound like more than a coincidence? Coincidences do happen. Maybe somebody who thinks they're psychic comes up with this name, and somebody, in the long history of this house, somebody with that name did live there. The name happens to be a common name. Why can't it be a coincidence? Even if you believe in the psychic realm, spirits, whatever, coincidences still also exist. It's a bit like, you know, the psychic sense and deja vu. Like, even if you believe you've got a psychic sense for, you know, I've seen this before, I know what's going to happen, deja vu is still also real. But it's never ever that. It's always psychic phenomena. It can't ever be coincidence. That's why I prefer these, like, slightly more investigative types, although this lady is not doing such a great job right now because she's just also agreeing that everything is psychic. But it's a TV show, so that's what you gotta do, right?
In 1916, 3 years after this house was built, 2 boys down the road went missing without a trace. They were never found.
Are they the spirits that haunt Catherine's home?
Well, on my brief online search, I can't find any records or any information about 2 boys that went missing in 1916. It was 1916, so maybe there just isn't anything outside of the local archive, local papers, whatever. I'm willing to accept that, but can neither verify nor deny.
If so, why do they remain?
And why would they remain in this other house? What do they do if they just disappeared from the neighborhood? Why are they not haunting their own house? Isn't that weird?
That's horrible.
So, in summary, Brian has come up with some plausible explanations for what has been going on in the house. However, from what Nadine has discovered and from my investigation, I'm tending to gear more towards that there is paranormal activity going on here.
Can we not, as the, like, middle ground investigator type, can we not say Brian's discoveries probably explain some of the things that have happened? Instead of it being either Brian's wrong or Nadine's wrong. It's either haunted and there's nothing physically wrong with the house, or, you know, vice versa. Can it not be that some of these things have plausible explanations, but some of them don't, and we believe there might be... do you see what I mean? There's never a middle ground. It's always, it's completely psychic. Well, that's it. It's always that. Would you stay in your house if you knew it was haunted? I would never be in that situation because I would never feel a certainty that my house was haunted. So it's hard for me to say. Answers in the comments below. If spooky stuff happened and there was, like, a sense of haunting, I'd definitely stay in it. And then I'd invite people around and I'd make it intentionally more spooky. But that's just me.
Several weeks later, after her paranormal home inspection,
Things have been pretty quiet in the house. I haven't had any more incidences. So it's been okay. I do believe that what Nadine felt in this house was definitely legitimate.
It was legitimate. It's just that even though she felt these negative feelings and being pushed away, like, the second she walked into the house, nothing's happened for weeks. But I still think she's right. It doesn't make sense. Christine, it doesn't make sense. Catherine, I'm so sorry. I got her name wrong. I'm like a psychic. It's a CH. It's something with a CH.
With the information that Brian gave me, I feel very comfortable in staying with the house. Whatever's happening, we can coexist.
Is that it? Case closed? That's it! Do we not get the contractor in to see what's going on down the drain? Nadine said that something had been buried down there once. We're just never going to investigate it. At least on Most Haunted, they exorcise the ghost, or they try to, like, placate the ghost, or ask it to be friendlier. She's just like, yeah, no, this, like, horrible grumpy spirit was trying to push her out of the house, and I think that that's real, but we're fine to coexist. Doesn't that seem contradictory to you? The fact that you can live in your house for weeks with nothing happening, but you also believe that these, like, aggressive, angry entities live there? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. They don't seem to bother me, so... Is your child still hearing voices? I have so many questions. I feel like we just abandoned the whole idea of it in the last minute. What an amazing experience. What a show. That was everything I hoped it would be right up to the end where we stopped investigating. They're like, I think your house is haunted. This person thinks your house is haunted. And she's just like, yep, that's all great stuff. End of show. It's so abrupt. Paranormal Home Inspectors. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10 show. Brian is the best, undoubtedly. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what your favourite kooky ghost shows, paranormal shows, Bigfoot finders, whatever. Anything in this supernatural genre that you think that I should take a look at, let me know down below, because I do love this stuff. I love it. It's so stupid. I want to be in a B-movie horror, and I want to be in a paranormal investigative show. Please, documentary. Those are my two greatest wishes in life. If you really like this and you want to support this channel, do leave some comments down below. Share the video with a pal. Check out today's sponsor down below. The best way to support this channel and what I do here is via the Patreon. There will probably be an extended cut of this episode on Patreon because I just loved it so much that I recorded for a really long time. So do check that out. It's doing it again. My camera's focusing on, was that Crash Bandicoot? My camera's focusing on Crash Bandicoot, probably inhabited by a spirit. What was I saying? The Patreon. That's patreon.com/EmmaThorneVideos. Huge thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Especially Conla. God damn it, Conla. Most importantly, have a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.